I first heard about PiratesVR Jolly Roger years ago when this amazing looking CG trailer showed up. Now, I knew right off the bat that this was a cinematic trailer, so this wasn't going to be what the final game looked like, but I was still excited for what this promised. Deep sea diving for treasure chests while you're being attacked by sharks, walking into saloons, plunking down some gold and drinking some beer before you get into a fight, walking out on a pirate ship with a whole crew ready to take your orders and go to battle, diving into caves and finding hordes of undead pirates to find more gold. Well, I'm sorry to tell you that 3 of the 4 things I just mentioned are in the game. You don't spend any time on a pirate ship, there is no bar and saloon to be found. Matter of fact, you actually don't interact with another human character throughout the entire game. And there is some deep sea diving, but unfortunately there is no shark. What Pirates VR Jolly Roger is basically a pirate themed dungeon crawler. Full disclosure, I was provided a key for this game by the publisher VR Kiwi, but that doesn't have any bearing on my review. I've been longing for a great pirate game in VR. We've gotten 2 other ones. There was Battlewake for Survivals, which was a pirate ship combat game, but you never actually set foot on any island. And then there's Bootstrap Island, basically a roguelite where your goal is to survive as many nights as possible and explore the full island. All 3 of these are very different games, so which one you like more is going to depend on what you're in for. I personally love dungeon crawlers, so I was more into Jolly Roger than the other 2. So the game starts on a deserted island, and this area pretty much serves as your tutorial for the game. Here you're going to learn how to climb, swing, use your inventory, fashion tools, and open chests. After going through all of this and finding the key, you enter the caves, and pretty much the game starts at this point. Here you get an oil lamp, which doubles as your first weapon. I thought this was actually pretty cool because I've never actually seen a lamp be used as a weapon before. To use it, you first light the lamp with trigger, then you hold down trigger to charge up a shot. You'll see a little meter build up, and once you let go, you fire it at whatever enemy shows up. The game basically breaks down to 5 main areas. There's the island I just mentioned, a cave, a prison, another cave, and then the temple where you're trying to find Davy Jones's lost treasure. And that's pretty much the entire story of the game. You're a pirate who's trying to seek out Davy Jones' lost treasure. Really, that's it. It's a pretty bare bones story. The action is my first real gripe with the game, not because it's bad, it just takes a little while to actually get to it. Between the island and the cave is where you do all your deep sea diving, you actually don't encounter any enemies here at all. The first time you encounter any enemies is in the prison section. In the prison, you'll get used to using your lamp as a weapon, and here you'll actually find your first gun, which is a classic flintlock pistol. The combat here is just okay. The game actually does a really good job of ramping because the first enemies you fight are just these skeletons who just blindly run at you and try to swipe you. Later on, the game will add in their big brother, a much larger skeleton who can put a magic shield around it to protect itself from your main attacks. And then further down the game, you'll actually encounter dead pirates who have guns and swords to actually kill you with. So as you get more comfortable with the combat, the game will start to throw different enemies at you, but overall the combat wasn't very challenging. I could probably say the same for the puzzles, and this is where I'm going to talk about your companion, who is a smart mouth little parrot. This parrot, much like the crow and another dungeon crawler, Shadowgate VR, pretty much just gives away most of the puzzle hints for you if you take too long. While I did appreciate the number of hints that I got because there was some stuff I actually couldn't figure out, I hated the fact that the game didn't really trust me to let me figure this out. I might have missed this in the options, but hopefully they can patch in a way to turn the hints off from the parrot while keeping all of the parrot's sarcastic remarks in the game, because those were actually funny. But when I'm playing a puzzle game, sometimes I actually want to stand there for, hours and try to figure it out myself without any kind of hint whatsoever, and then sometimes I would like the hint so I could keep the game moving, but I would like that option in there. Your inventory system is a floating screen triggered by holding down one of your lower buttons on either controller, and once that pulls up, you can grab an apple to restore your health or any kind of items that you need to solve any other puzzles. This is just like developer Splitlight Studios' last game, Afterlife. They're pretty much using the same engine here. It works well, it's not really intrusive, but for people who prefer like a bigger piece of immersion, like a backpack for instance, you're not going to find that here. I do need to mention here that you also have to manage the amount of oil in your lamp. You will find refills throughout the game, and really there's no reason for you to run out unless you're just a bad shot when you're trying to take out any of the enemies. My second gripe in the game comes in with the looting, because there's treasure spread all over the place, but it feels like you're just doing it for the sake of the achievements built into Steam. There's one part of the game where you can actually cash any of your found treasure in. It's about midway through for a little mini game, but other than that, there's no reason to collect any of the items here other than to say, hey, you did it. Like I said, there is an achievement to find as much treasure as possible along with other things, so if you're a completionist, you could do it for that sake, but it doesn't really weigh into the game at all. There's no economy to like upgrade weapons or buy new items or anything like that. You're literally looting just for the sake of looting. Overall, the game took me about 4 hours to finish. A couple of the puzzles took me longer than others because they basically are fetch quests where you have to search the environment and the area around you to find pieces of it to put it together, and then you can solve it. I'd say if I had figured these out faster, I probably would have finished the game in about 3 hours. In terms of graphics, the game looks fine. I'm personally not running a high powered rig. I don't have a 4090. What you're seeing here is the game on medium settings being played with a Quest 3 using the 3070 for my GPU. I would imagine if you crank the graphics up, this game could really shine because there's a lot of good detail and lighting here, but again, I don't have the rig to properly show that. If I had to sum up my thoughts on the game, it's just okay. This is a big improvement over Splitlight's last game, Afterlife, which was a horror game set in an insane asylum and was basically your typical horror game walking simulator. There is a lot more to do here, but everything just feels kind of bog standard. Like I said, there's no bartering or money system to upgrade weapons, there's no crafting, anything like that. It's basically manage your resources appropriately, loot whatever treasure you can find, and just progress through the story. So in the end, Jolly Roger doesn't really live up to the promise of the trailer we saw all those years ago. If I had to rate the game, I'd go on the 5-point scale. I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5. It's a solid game, but it's just kind of there, and honestly, it's not a game that I feel like I would revisit down the line. The price of $20 sounds about right for what you're getting here, a story-based dungeon crawler that you can knock out in a few hours, but I doubt you'd be compelled to play this game over and over again unless you're someone who's a completionist and wants to find every piece of treasure. If you found this review helpful, let me know with a like, and let me know down in the comments if you plan on picking this up. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.